Mike Reis with new Saluki Hall of Famer Damon Jones. I know you like the way that sounds.
It sounds great, Mike. It's been something I've been dreaming about. It's a phone call I've been wanting for a long time, and when I got the call, it was a very emotional time for me.
25 years since you played. What is the first thing you think of at Southern?
I think about the second chance I had, honestly. Coming from the University of Michigan, I made some bad choices. Nothing bad, majorly bad, but bad enough where it was time for me to move on and get a fresh start. And Coach Watson, Coach Wiest, and all those coaches, believing in me and giving me an opportunity to come here was a good for me.
Who reached out to you to get it going?
TJ. TJ was the catalyst in that. He was a GA at Michigan for the first the 2 years I was there. He was a GA, so he reached out to me, and it came down to Southern Illinois and Illinois State because Billy Harris, he was a DB coach, and he was coaching at Illinois State, so it came down to there. But TJ was really a catalyst, and then meeting Coach Watson really kind of, he was the one that really sealed the deal for me.
You were a man among boys when you played. You were 6'6", 280 when you played here, and the players in this league and your opponents weren't your size, and we joked about that enough, and all of those things. But what was it? I mean, could you tell you were playing like that or playing against that?
Well, I mean, it was definitely a different caliber of player when I got here, but we had some good players, here. I think that the coaches that we had brought, we didn't win as many games as I liked to win when I was here at Southern, but I think the coaching staff definitely, changed that culture and started the tradition of starting to win more football games. Then we had, who came in after Coach Watson? It was
Bob Smith, or Jan Corliss.
It was that, yeah,
Jan Corliss.
Q took over, and it kind of, it elevated, and I think some of our, ways that we played kind of contributed to that. I'll never forget that Ole Miss game. That was a tough game. That was my second game here, and losing like that. I had never lost like that, and I remember being in the locker room and almost to tears. And TJ said, "This is why I brought you here." I said, "You brought me here to lose 59-3?" He's like, "No." He said, "You care." He says, "You care, and that'll be what we need in this locker room," because I remember some guys being in that same locker room talking about, "I hope we get back in time to make it to Pittspenny and to get beers and stuff like that." And I really was I was upset and really wanted to go after them in the locker room. Dude, we just got beat by 50, and you're talking about getting back to drink some beers. That's not what it's about, man. We got to change this way of culture, and I think the way Nick is coaching right now, I love it. I love it, the way he's coaching. I mean, he's got those guys excited. They're about winning. That 2016 class is a special recruiting class, and they're doing some special things, and it's fun to watch.
Yeah. You really, I'd have to research this further, Damon, but I think you're the first high-profile transfer football had. And so there was and the 90s were bad for SIU football record-wise. And so, my God, here's a guy from Michigan wants to come here. We really don't even really care why he's here, And so, I hate to use the word savior. You used it in your induction speech, but that was the mentality at the time, I think, because people were so desperate for victory here.
We were. I mean, it was tough. It was tough to get wins here. And when I got here, I said why it was tough. I mean, like I said, the guys were, more interested in getting back to drink beers than playing football. So, after that first win against Western Kentucky, I think I had a pretty good game. And then Coach Watson and I had a real heart-to-heart. We sat down and we talked, and he really just asked me. He says, "I want you to tell me who wants to be here and who doesn't." And I didn't want to be like a locker room snitch or anything like that, but winning, coming from Evanston where I was at, we had won, conference championships. We'd done well in the playoffs. Didn't win a state title, but we did well. Michigan, I didn't, lose a lot of games there, but to go 1-10 my first year was really tough. So when he came to me, he said, we've got to get guys. And so as a savior, he helped. He used me in the recruiting piece to bring Johnny Thomas here, to bring CJ here, to bring some of the other transfers in. So anytime we had a transfer while I was here at Southern, I was their host.
Did the players accept you right away?
Yeah, I left that out of the speech with that Daily Egyptian. I remember it was me and TJ, and I was kind of pointing. They said, Michigan transfer has landed or something of that nature, and it was a full page on the Daily Egyptian, and the guys decorated my locker with it. So I knew
you were accepted.
I knew they were accepted.
Yeah.
When guys do stuff like that, I knew they were accepting of me. And then once I had a good game, they knew I was out of shape because I missed all the two-a-days. But when I had a good game, they said this kid can play, and I think that really kind of broke the ice, and we were all good at that point. And me and Reggie got really close during that year. We got really close. We played on the same side, so we really worked hard with each other on the different route combinations, with the coverages. Knowing him knowing the coverages that, if it's cover two, if he pushes that that hits out. That flag route that I'm running is going to be, it's going to be tougher for that corner to fall underneath it. So we worked together, and we did some good things. Reg, I saw you post that on your social media that we were one of the top duos in catches and stuff like that. Reggie had a lot of catches, and we competed for that, and that's what made it, better for us.
I'm sorry I said Kennedy because there was a Reggie Kennedy, but it was Reggie Fowler.
Yeah, Reggie Fowler.
Who you were
Reggie
talking
Kennedy
about.
was the quarterback, I believe.
Yes. Yeah. Well, one of them.
Yeah, we had a bunch that year.
Yeah, you had several. Damon, your numbers hang in there pretty well for 25 years. And I'm talking about receptions and yardage. Are you surprised by that?
I am. I was actually here, I want to say the week after Michael broke the record. And it was, it was bittersweet, but to have it last that long was good as a tight end. And I do believe Michael is probably the best tight end that's ever played here. I mean, he had a different offensive style. I mean,
Sure.
they literally featured him and got him the football. They tried to get me the football. Coach Watson tried to get me the football, but I remember Northern Iowa triple teamed me all game when we played them up in the dome one year. And I went to Coach Allen. I said, you don't want me to catch the ball today? He said, no, I wasn't going to let you beat me today. So I think, the way that they used Pruitt and they moved him around and made it, difficult to cover him, I think, the way the passing game has just evolved in the 2000s, it's taking football. So I am surprised that the receptions are still in the top 20 because so many guys have, come along. You talk about Cornell Craig. I mean, a guy who I played with, his first 3 catches, my senior year were touchdowns. So, I mean, for him to come in, Michael to come break that record is, it's fun to see, but records are meant to be broken.
Why couldn't Cornell make the pros? Why couldn't he make the league?
Cornell was probably a little bit too small. We look at a Devontae Smith. I mean, he's a Heisman Trophy winner, but he's a small guy. He doesn't. Taking licks in that league is tough. Even playing at Michigan, or even they talk about the great SEC. Everybody's not going to the league in the SEC. You have some on each team, but when you get to the league, it's so much speed. And those guys are so fast. And like you said, I was 280. I ran a 4.62 in my combine. So you don't have. I wasn't playing against guys like that here at Southern Illinois,
right,
where with that same size and speed. So I think just the size thing kind of maybe got Cornell. I think he had the route ability. I think he was a great catcher. I think just the size probably kind of was a knock on him.
Damon averaged 15.5 yards per reception, which that number still hangs in there very well. I bet 10 of those came after the catch. That was before yak yards were.
Yeah, that was something before
tracked.
they tracked. But I've never liked to get tackled, Mike. We played on the heat. We were laughing about it before, and playing and Mike McAndrew with that sand. I just didn't like to get tackled, so I tried my best to either get out of bounds or stay up or score.
Your NFL career, 5 years with the Jaguars. What do you see when you look back at that?
I see maturity. It took me a lot. I had to mature a lot. I had to grow up a lot. A lot of things I did at Southern, I worked hard, and it was kind of quiet. I worked out on my own a lot, and people didn't see it, but I had to do more when I got to the league because, like I said, everybody is good in the league. So it took me a while, and I remember Derek Brown, who was a starting tight end there in Jacksonville when I got drafted, and he was really hard on me as a rookie and just gave me a real hard time. And it was more because he knew I was there to take his job. And when I finally got my first start, my second catch was a touchdown to win the game for Baltimore. And he was inactive that game. And I knew I had made it then. And that's just when I started to take it more serious, understand that, it's hard to get in the NFL and it's hard to stay. When I got injured in 2000 is really when I learned that it changes fast. They put me on IR Monday, and I remember being in the training room, and they had 5 tight ends working out Tuesday. Mm-hmm. So it's not for long, and they will replace you. And I'm happy that Michael got his time, mm-hmm. and I hope he can stay in there as long as he can. Stay in there as long as you can, Michael. And if they call me right now, I go get a check, Mike.
Where is I'd drive you.
I'll give you 2%.
What was I going to ask? That was a good line. I thought more about the 2%, and I'd already spent it.
He said, "I got me my baby. We're gonna get that boat now."
I'm on the way out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect you to say SIU because of the second chance is the reason you got to the NFL. Because it could have been at Illinois State. Somebody would have taken you. Somebody would have taken you.
I think so. It was.
Would you have made it anyway from Michigan?
I think I would have been higher drafted. Yeah. I think had I matured and stopped doing the silly things, goofing off in the dorms. 'Cause that's all I was doing, goofing off in the dorms. Mm-hmm. I mean, I wasn't beating on no girls or DUIs or nothing like that. I remember. Nothing crazy like that. So it. And I came out the year, and I think what really kind of affected my draft status because of the issues at Southern and the blow up with Coach Boso was I came after Lawrence Phillips, right after that draft. He was in the 96 draft. I was in the 97 draft. So every year it got more and more, scrutiny as far as guys who had off the field things. And now you look at it now, these guys, one mistake, almost cancels these guys. Some of them, if you do the wrong thing, and some of it does, they deserve it, but it's a tough thing. And I went to a coaching clinic a couple years ago with the NFL, and the quarterback from Marshall, Chad Pennington, he gave a number, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was less than 10,000 players that played in the NFL total, and that's a really small number when you look at it compared to how many it's 53 on each roster. You think it's going to be more, but the guys stay, so it's not a lot of guys that play a long time, and it's tough.
Yeah. Not easy to get in the Saluki Hall either. There's only 300, and you're one of them, big fella.
It's definitely not easy. I've watched that announcement at least for a decade. And, I wasn't upset. I wasn't bitter. I just put it in God's hands a couple years ago. I said, that phone call is going to happen sooner or later. And,
congratulations.
And I appreciate it. Thanks.
Congratulations.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
it now.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely.
Saluki Hall of Famer, Damon Jones.